This is the Morning Tailgate.
Deuce! Goodbye! Into the end zone! 60 yards! Touchdown Raiders!
With Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignore, and Clay Baker.
It's the trifecta for Bowers! His third touchdown of the game! And the Raiders with a chance to win it!
On Raider Nation Radio 920.
Fire up the cue! Grab a beverage or two and settle in. This is the Morning Tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920, the flagship for the Silver and Black. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignore coming to you live from Las Vegas on a Monday, June 22nd, 2026. Our guy Connor on the ones and twos on this fine Las Vegas morning. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic Father's Day weekend. Hope it was relaxing to all the dads out there. Celebrate them, lift them up as they should. It was a good day. It was a good day. Everyone says, Vince, what'd you do? What'd you do on Father's Day? Well, I was back at the hockey rink all day. And I got to tell you, there's no place I'd rather be. It was great, especially in 100 and some odd heat. My daughter had a game early, and then my son had a game a couple hours later. You know, during the break, they're like, hey, let's go walk downtown Summerlin for a little bit. I said, okay. That lasted 15 minutes. One trip to the Lego store and 15 minutes of walking. It's like, let's get back to the ice rink because it is just it's just that time of year. Welcome in, everybody. Vinny, a happy Father's Day to you. Was it restful? Was it relaxing? How was it for you?
Well, I had a fantastic weekend. I took my son to the Iran versus Belgium World Cup soccer game at SoFi Stadium. Then I took my daughter around. We went to USC. We went to Crypto Arena. I still call it Staples Center. I took her downtown shopping in downtown Los Angeles in that little fashion area just downtown. Got some great pizza. Took the kids to go see some pro teams facilities here in the Southern California area. So we had a fantastic time, and I wouldn't trade 1 second for it for anything. And by the way, SoFi Stadium looked spectacular yesterday. I really wish Allegiant Stadium could have been a home to one of the World Cup games, but there's some field dimensions for World Cup or I guess FIFA soccer that prohibits Allegiant from being one of the host sites. But what a spectacular scene! What a spectacular atmosphere! What a spectacular environment! I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, but the passion just completely shines through, and it's been fantastic. The weather's been great in Los Angeles. I think America is putting its best foot forward. Los Angeles, Seattle, all the great markets that are hosting these World Cup events. It makes my heart, it fills my heart to see the great hospitality and the great reaction, and honestly, the atmosphere yesterday was unbelievable.
I do love that for you, and I know you're not the biggest soccer guy, so I love that you're getting into the World Cup fever of it. I also hate it for you simultaneously that it was the only game of the World Cup where we didn't get a single goal. You got some great goalkeeping on display, but we didn't get a single goal. I hate that for you.
There was a goal, but it was taken away.
Right.
There was a goal, but it was taken away.
You saw the ball go in.
A little bit surprised when the red card came out, and Iran had a man advantage for, it must have been about 20 minutes or so. Yeah. And I just felt they should have taken in fact, I think Belgium had more shots on goal
23.
From that point on.
Yeah. It was nice.
I couldn't quite understand that, but it is what it is, and just the like I said, the passion was great. It was the pageantry's fantastic. Great egress at SoFi Stadium. Great, you know what? Honestly, great on the city for there are so many bus lines to get here and there, and we drove, but I could see bus after bus after bus after bus getting people to and from. It's just been fantastic, and it really does set the stage for the Olympics, which is right around the corner. And me and the kids were talking about that. Man, what's it going to look like when the Olympics are here? This is a nice little appetizer for that. And while I'm not into necessarily soccer, Vince, I mean, this is the World Cup. It's like the Super Bowl. So if you can't get into it at this point, you're probably never going to get into it. I don't know that this will cause like some every time the World Cup comes around, this is when America is going to this is when soccer is going to take over take over America. I don't ever see that happening, but that's okay. Everything has its niche, and this is the World Cup. So for sure, America is definitely into soccer right now. There's really not much going on otherwise right now. Some summer baseball, which is always great, but it's not. It's the thick of the summer for baseball. So the perfect timing for soccer here in the United States at this point.
Yeah, it's really going to take the good old US of A make a deep run. And even that, it's going to be it is what it is, and it's great. Yeah. I love every second of it, and not everybody has to do it. I love that everybody is enjoying it. The atmospheres, as you say, have been unbelievable. But hey, US, let's keep this momentum going as long as we can. Let's extend this run. All right, we got our next one Friday. Hey, Pulisic, can we get some trainers to get that calf right? All right, I digress. We got a whole week, Connor. I'm not gonna start on it on a Monday. Vinny made me do it, so that's on him. It was Father's Day weekend, and you would think, hey, let's all just kind of take a breather. Let's all relax. No. Raiders getting work done, Vinny. Raiders are getting work done. Key Crawford signed his rookie deal on Sunday afternoon, and that brings the total for the Raiders draft picks 8 out of 10. The only unsigned players to this particular point, Jermon McCoy and one Fernando Mendoza. We're not going to worry. We're not going to freak out. These things happen. These things take time. It's a numbers game. Everything's okay. Let's celebrate Key Crawford signing his first NFL deal. And it bears, I think, repeating in terms of the conversation. I think it was a few weeks ago, Vinny, we talked about pass rushers and the expectations and the needs that this Raiders team needs for the upcoming season in terms of beyond Maxx Crosby, right? And who are the different names that can pop up? Key Crawford taken 67th overall, a guy that is described as a junkyard dog on the football field who just gets after it, is one of those guys that I know the franchise, maybe not immediately day one, but eventually is going to be one of these guys that they look at saying, hey, you need to be part of the solution and maybe more so part of the rotation in terms of being that impact type player at 67th overall in this past draft.
Yeah, and, I fully expect him to be part of the rotation. I'm going to be a little bit cautious with the sack numbers. We've gone over this this whole thing. It's hard for rookies to have big sack numbers in their first year, and historically speaking, it's just really hard. You go look at the numbers, and you're like, wow, that guy only had it's tough. It's tough to get it figured out. You're no longer going against tackles that may be out of football in a couple of months or playing in the UFL or Canada, and nothing against any of those leagues, but it's not the Premier League in professional football. You are going against grown men with all sorts of tricks up their sleeve and blocking schemes that you've never seen before or have had to deal with before. And so it makes it really difficult to accumulate a lot of sacks. So, when I'm looking at Key Crawford, if you could get 6 sacks from him this year, that would be so fantastic, right, Vince? I mean, when you look at it from a historical standpoint, that would be almost kind of on the high end for a player drafted out of the third round and doing what he's going to be expected to do. Yeah,
and let's just stay right there. And we're going to open this topic up a little bit larger, but you just said 6 sacks. And I think that'd be a great number. Feels a little ambitious considering he had 5 sacks total his final year of college. He had a grand total of 11.5 sacks over 4 years of college. Now, he had none his junior year. He had 5.5, I think the number was, his final year at Arkansas State. Again, not discrediting conference or teams, but we all understand context at the same time. So 6 sacks to me would be massive feather in the cap. I think we did this exercise, and we talked about defensive rookies of the year in years past, and their sack numbers are between 3 and I think 6 is the number. So super ambitious. I love it, and I can point to a lot of reasons why he could get to that, right? But it also feels like a pretty narrow path.
Well, and I said that for a reason, Vince. I don't know if you watch the show. There's couple of shows that I watch. It's Buy It or List It, or Sell It or List It.
Yes.
Love the show, right?
Love
great
that show.
And then, the other one where you go and look at a bunch of houses and pick the house that you're going to buy.
That's one with the 3 options, right?
It's actually about 20. You probably look about 10,
but they
houses.
show 3.
It gets down to 3, yeah. The reason I said that is because invariably on those shows, they come out and they go, this is what we want, blah, 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 5 rooms, whatever, whatever it is, right? And then the first thing that they do is they take you to look at a house that you described, right? And plus, they also give the budget, what the budget's going to be. And the first thing that they do is take you to go see the house that you want, and then they show you, well, this is how much this costs. You're like, whoa! And it's like $400,000-$500,000 more than your budget, or $1 million more than your budget, and you're like, I'm just setting you straight right here, because if that is your expectation in the city center, right where all the action is, this is what it's going to cost you. And everyone's always kind of blown away by that. Now, do you want to be a little bit more realistic in what you're asking for? Maybe where you want to be. Do you want to be about 15 minutes outside of the city center? Because we could get this house, but it's going to cost it'll be that much less 15 minutes away rather than right in the city center. And I just did that basically to say, hey, that's on the high end of your budget right there, the six sacks, historically speaking. So if we want to talk about that, as you mentioned, perfectly ambitious, extremely ambitious, actually, or do we want to talk about something a little bit more realistic for your budget, Vince?
Yeah,
right.
More realistic for my budget always sounds better. I do love the ones. Vinny, can I get the half-acre backyard with a pool? But I want to be right, a block or 2 away from downtown.
Exactly.
Can we get
bars.
something? Yeah, can we get something where the noise doesn't hit my bedroom, but I still want to be, close enough to the parking garage that I don't have to walk too far. You know what I mean? Like I love that show.
Love it or list it is what.
I love that show because
I'm always rooting for her. No, actually, I'm always rooting for the new house. I'm the new house guy.
You would always root for her.
I don't actually. Now that I think about it, I'm the new house guy. I'm like, why why don't we just get this house that we're looking for rather than
cheering for her.
Right?
Yeah, I think I do love that show. I do love the dynamic.
She does incredible work, though. By the way,
I just think it's hilarious. The reactions, whether they're real or not, I don't even care at this point, Vinny. I just want to be entertained, right? Like I don't even care if it's real or not. The reactions. What do you mean? What do you mean we can't afford it? It's just the indignation that kind of takes over.
Or this part where it's like we've got a problem. The sewage line is completely busted. That's gonna. If you want to do this whole new remake of the master bedroom and the new master bathroom, you want another $20,000,
and you want the elevator to the jacuzzi. Something's got to go. What do you want? What do you? But as we bring it back, yes, it is an ambitious. 6 sacks is very ambitious. I think Key Crawford gets 6 sacks in a full NFL season, in part of a rotation for Raiders defense. One, that means the Raiders defense likely on the up, right? Likely on the ascent. And if that's happening, that means they're getting some good rub, which means you're talking about defensive player of the year type candidate in a Key Crawford. If he's getting 6 sacks opposite side Maxx Crosby. We did this exercise, again, as I said, a few weeks ago in terms of who are the names outside of Maxx? What are your top 3 sack getters? And we can revisit that even again today, but I want to ask it in a different way. They're not going to go away, the Maxx Crosby trade rumors, right? And just different things that are going to pop up, and people are going to be exploring thoughts. Well, if the Raiders jump out to a slow start, for example, in the first quarter of the season, how does that change what Maxx Crosby wants to do again, what the Raiders want to do with him, another team coming in and willing to pay because they feel they're a Super Bowl contender. They have to continue the arms race. That is the LA Rams or whoever it may be at this particular juncture. pick your reason, right? They're not going to go away. We all agree with that. They're just simply not going to go away with Maxx Crosby. So let's ask this in a different question. We're parking Maxx Crosby to the side. Who has to be the guy? Who has to be the guy? Not who do you want to be the guy? Who do you think could be the guy? Like, who has to be the guy getting after the quarterback? I think there's a valid argument that Malcolm Koonce has to be the guy, but for the second year in a row on a one-year deal, I mean, does that person exist on the roster right now in terms of having to be the guy? We've seen in years past where the Raiders have brought in that Robin to Maxx Crosby's Batman, where they were brought in to be that other guy, that second guy. Christian Wilkins was a guy. Chandler Jones was a guy. Yannick Ngakoue was a guy, right? Does that guy exist on the roster in terms of having to be the Robin? Or do the Raiders understand they can't fill every hole in the offseason? They can't get every single thing on their like it or list it list as we bring it full circle, and maybe they just couldn't get to that guy. Maybe that guy didn't exist this offseason. 702-365-9200. We're talking pass rushers. We're talking getting after the quarterback. And if you're putting Maxx Crosby over to the side for just a moment, I know he's on the roster. He continues to be on the roster until otherwise noted. But who has to be the other guy? Who is going to be that guy to help out a Maxx Crosby here or not? Because we talk about how this has been best case scenario for the Raiders, right? They stood true. They stood firm on what they wanted. 2 first-round picks. They got it. It went away within 48 hours. You got Max back, and you're like, okay, I love that the worst possible thing is we keep Maxx Crosby. That's a great thing. But at some point, there has to be more solutions beyond number 98. And we've been talking about that for years. Go ahead.
I don't see the guy. I just don't see it right now. Maybe Keyron Crawford can be that guy, down the road. But what I would suggest, maybe moving a little bit outside the city center, Vince. Okay. And all jokes aside, what about 17 sacks among Kwity Paye, Malcolm Koonce, and Keyron Crawford? However you want to disperse those, 6, and 5. Between those three, among those three, and get 17 from that group of guys alongside, Max's. What are we thinking for Max? 12 to 15?
Has to be 12 to 15.
All right,
he got 10 last year in how many games did he miss? Final 2,
I think
3?
he missed the last 2 games. Yeah.
two games.
And he was, kind of limited to.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
But I think the expectation for Maxx Crosby is and will continue to be 12 to 15.
Okay, so somewhere between that plus 17 from those 3, and we're just talking right now. I mean that has nothing to do with Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker rushing, the passer, and it has nothing to do with the Devin Bookers and the Adam Butlers and the Jonah Laulus and those players, your inside players, your Tonka Hemingways, your JJ Pequises. We're taking those guys out for now. Yep. Let's just set them to the side, and let's just talk about what are you going to get off the edge this year with your outside linebackers / defensive ends. And so between those 4 now, when you do add Maxx Crosby back into the picture, let's just say 13 for argument's sake, plus the 17 that I'm suggesting that you can get from those 3 players, Kwity Paye, Keyron Crawford, and Malcolm Koonce. That's 30 sacks between those 4, between your edge rushers. Right now, the ones that we see in the 2 deep, basically. Would you take that?
Well, I'm going to answer your question with another question because this is how I will answer that question.
Yeah.
Last year, do we consider Tyree played kind of everywhere, right? Do we consider Tyree part of the edge rusher grouping from last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so last year between Max, Malcolm, Tyree, and Snowden, That number, quick math, is 18.5 plus 3, 21.5. 21.5 sacks. So what you're putting out there in terms of a core four, for lack of a better term, a core four, you're saying 30 sacks.
Yes.
That's a massive upgrade. From
8.5 more, 9 more?
Yeah, from pure pass rushing off the edge. That's a full player's sack total, a very good player's sack total in terms of 8 more sacks. So, yes, in a long-winded way, and I did that just to kind of be transparent and explain it all out, because when you're looking at the 37 sacks that the Raiders mustered up a year ago, and you're sitting there saying, well, between those 4, that gets 30, that's a massive upgrade compared to the top 4 edge rushers from a year ago. Again, is that the finish line? Absolutely not, but this is what we're talking about. Is there that guy that can go be, right behind Maxx Crosby in the sack total? I'd be a little dubious on that. Vinny says no. What say you? 702-365-9200. We have callers on the line. We're going to wait. Please hold. You're being patient on a Monday. We appreciate that. We're going to start this Monday on the Morning Tailgate right. 702-365-9200. Who's going to be that guy besides Maxx Crosby? It's the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. But first,
hey guys, since 1942, Sal's Mexican restaurants have been serving the best Mexican food in California's Central Valley. From their award-winning salsas to all their classics like chili carne and chili verde, it's been go-to restaurants for multiple generations. But here's the thing, you don't even have to be in California or the Central Valley to enjoy this tremendous food. All you got to do is go to salsmexicanrestaurant.com. That's salsmexicanrestaurant.com to get hooked up. You go online, you put your order in, and wherever you are, you can get the food delivered to you for your next party, your next family together, or your next tailgate. However, if you are in the Central Valley and maybe you live there, maybe you're passing through, make sure to check out their locations in Selma, Fresno, or Madera. And when you do, ask for Sal, Carl, or any of their managers and let them know that the Morning Tailgate and Raider Nation Radio sent you. Or again, just go to salsmexicanrestaurant.com.
Vince, Vinny, and Clay want to hear from you. Call or text the show at 702-365-9200. Now, back to the Morning Tailgate.
Welcome back inside the Morning Tailgate. Raider Nation Radio 920. 702-365-9200 is the number. Who's going to be that guy opposite Maxx Crosby? Who's just going to be a guy that can be one of the premier pass rushers on this team? I'm not talking about the NFL. We're not talking about accolades and awards. Who's going to be the guy here? We know what the Condor is. He's a set-and-forget-it type of guy when he's on the field. Who's that next guy? 702-365-9200. Patiently waiting on the line. Heath from the CO, Colorado. Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the tailgate.
Hi. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. Can you hear me?
I think we're losing you. We'll try you again here in a little bit. 702-365-9200 is the number. Vinny, we're talking about the pass rushers and who's going to be that guy. What is that collection going to look like? 4 players with a core 4. The core 4 in terms of edge rushers a year ago got to about 21.5. 30?
You get that to 30.
30?
Yep.
Feels real good. Now the question is, how do we go about that? And we can bounce around. You mentioned 4 names, right? Between Max, between Malcolm Kuntz, Kwity Paye, and Keyron Crawford, who just signed his rookie deal Sunday afternoon, right?
Yep.
When you look at Kwity Paye, to me, Kwity Paye, if there is a guy on this roster, could be that guy. Could be. You look at his numbers, right? And again, we bring it up because the numbers are what they are. Analytics say it was not a good year in terms of his win rate. It was actually the worst in terms of pass rushers that met the certain quota. But you look at the years prior to that, 8 sacks in 2024, 8.5 sacks in 2023. I'm not saying the Raiders are paying for that production with that free agent deal, but they saw something, right? Intelligently aggressive. And nothing that we've seen this offseason felt desperate from the team in terms of, we just have to overpay to go fix a hole, right? Like no other move felt that way. But if there's one that you could point at being like, all right, are you paying for past production, or did you see something that either went wrong a year ago or see something that you're like, hey, that guy can get back to 8 sacks for us? Clearly, the Raiders see it as the latter, right? I mean, otherwise, why are you paying that kind of money? But Kwity Paye also, during his introductory presser, when we got a chance to speak with him, I think he fully understood. His year wasn't where it was last year, and if I could for a moment, Vinny, before I hand it off to you, is parlay something Quay Walker said with what many, I think, are questioning or maybe expecting out of Kwity Paye. Quay Walker talked about, like, when they brought me in, they gave me a phone call. They had a clear vision of how they were going to use me. And for Quay Walker, he talked about, like, he felt like he was going to be used the right way. Not to discredit Green Bay or anything that happened over there. He's just saying the way there was a clear vision and clear plan for me. I feel like that's not just a one-off. I feel like they have a clear plan and vision for what they hope and what they want to do with every guy. And that goes in line with a Kwity Paye that, again, maybe didn't have the type of year he wanted a season ago.
Yeah, and that's why, for me, the way I kind of dispersed it, 6 for Kwity, 6 for Malcolm, and then, 5 for Crawford, right? And so if you take the 6, that's 2 off of, he had back-to-back, 8 and 8.5 sacks seasons in 2024 and 2023. So it's not, to me, 6 would be,
we're back on the up. We're back on the upswing.
We're back on the up, but we're not, it's not his premier years type, right? So there's still even a little bit of cushion room right there. Do I think he could get 8 sacks in this defense? I absolutely believe that he could get 8 sacks. Should he get 8 sacks? I kind of think he should get 8 sacks. You're getting paid. You're being counted on. You got a starting role, essentially. But I'll give it a little bit of room so that we're not going to the best of everybody's, the top of the budget for each of these players. Let's put it that way. Right? Go a little bit below. Even with Malcolm, looking at his best year and saying, okay, maybe it's a little bit overly ambitious to say he's going to get his best year's numbers. Let's give him just a little bit less than that. Now you add them all together, and it gets to the number that we're talking about in a reasonable way. And so for Kwity Paye, I look at those sack seasons that he had, the 2 years prior to last year, and to me, there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to get to 6 at least. I'm thinking even more, but I'm not going to go there just yet. So yeah, and there's a role for him. I think there's a plan for him. I think that playing on a defense with a Maxx Crosby on the other side, and hopefully some of these young. This is a real key to this thing too. Some of these younger interior defensive linemen like Jonah, JJ Pegues and Tonka Hemingway, and obviously Adam Butler has a pretty good track record on the interior of a defensive line. If those guys can step it up, or just Adam can stay where he's been, then that makes Kwity's job a little bit easier as well. It helps him, I should say. And so I think that's out there for him. I think 6 to 8 sacks are absolutely without question out there for Kwity Paye, assuming he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think they have to be. I think.
Well, yeah,
I think. And we might. It may be semantics, right? I understand that, but you have to. 6 has to be, to me, bare minimum. Because again, we continue to look around that pass rushing room, and who's going to be the guy outside of Max? The numbers have to come from somewhere, regardless of how you delineate it. it's call me Mr. Hot Take. One of the highest paid guys has to be one of the guys whose numbers are up there, right? And so, that's why Kwity Paye, I think, he has to get back to that 8.5 sack range, because then if you're talking about that, you're talking between 20 and 25-ish sacks between two guys.
Right. Maxx Crosby and him.
Correct. I mean, that's what you're looking at, and what a wildly different dynamic that defense presents. Connor on the ones and twos was just reminding me that Donovan, I screw up his last name. Ezeraku, had 2.5 sacks his rookie year, and he was viewed as the premier pass rusher among first-year players in the NFL. So that's not to just keep pouring on the Key Crawford numbers and sack totals. Jared Verse, Connor, what was the number? Jared Verse won Defensive Rookie of the Year with how many?
4.5 sacks.
4.5 sacks. So that's why it's great to sit there and say, hey, Key, if you can get half a dozen, 5 sacks, that's fantastic. That is great. But to expect that is as you say, up against the budget. Doesn't leave a lot of room for a broken pipe or a busted AC unit. You know what I mean? So somebody else has to be the guy. Who's that guy? Who's getting paid the most? Well, Kwity Paye just got paid by the Raiders. And it wasn't because he just put up 4 sacks. It's because of what he was able to do in the years prior. Now, another name that we continue to banter about, and this is where the semantics kind of gets a little weird, right, Vinny? Because you expect Malcolm Koonce, but is it really fair to expect those kinds of numbers out of Malcolm Koonce because he hasn't done it?
6 sacks? I think it's fair, yes.
No. What I mean is, but yes, I think that's fair. Yeah, he had 5.5 sacks last year coming off that knee injury. But in terms of being the guy opposite Max, right? Being the next guy, being the next highest sack total guy. For the last number of years, that has been the expectation. He is the Robin to Max's Batman. That is without a question. That has been the expectation, and that has fallen well short for a number of reasons. I don't see it from one guy. I just don't. And, and sometimes you just have to accept sort of the reality. And that's part of the question. Is there that one guy on the roster? That's a fair take.
If somebody breaks out, fantastic. Obviously, you take that. But I think the better approach might be just to say, and more realistic, I should say, is cobble it together. You make 3 guys into one guy. It's all about the numbers, right? It's going to be about the numbers. And getting caught up, as we should, and this is I think a really good exercise, which may drive us right to what we're talking about here in the terms of the cobbling it together, is to get the number that you need to get from another edge rusher, more sacks from the edge rushers, is by thinking of it in terms of a group effort alongside or opposite Maxx Crosby. In some cases, it'll be his backup too. One of those guys is going to give him some relief from time to time. But yeah, I think if you could get those 17 looks to give everybody an idea of what we're talking about, just in terms of rookies, keying on Key Crawford for 1 second. Micah Parsons had 13 sacks in 2021. He's the third all-time highest. That's the third all-time highest rookie sack total in NFL history since they've been charting sacks. 14.5 for Javon Curse back in 1991. 1999. Alden Smith, by the way, blessings to Alden Smith, 14 in 2011. After that, you have to go all the way to Bradley Chubb in 2018 with 12 sacks his rookie year. And we're talking about kind of more recent history. Then you have to go all the way to Josh Hines Allen in 2019 with Jacksonville, had 10.5 sacks his rookie year. 2016, Joey Bosa matched that 10.5 sacks with San Diego Chargers at that point. And so, and that's really it of people that are double-digit sacks in their rookie year. There's been 25 of them that I'm seeing right now. So it's tough. It's tough for Rick. Those are the highest. Those are the most ever right there. The top 25 of all time cuts off at 10.5. The highest mark was 14.5. It's tough for rookies to come in and make their mark as pass rushers, right off the bat. So that's why we're giving him a little bit of, wiggle room in terms of, what we say, 5 to maybe 5 sacks for him as a rookie, which
5 sacks would still be, to me, that's unbelievable when you look at just history, just what you run down. All the guys you just listed were first-round picks.
Yes.
Right? When you talk about a breakout year, if Keyron Crawford breaks out with 5 sacks in a rotational role on this defense that has Maxx Crosby, that just signed Quiddipe, that just signed Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, has the defensive tackles that we haven't even really touched on, and works his way into the rotation with 5 sacks, that is a massive win for the Raiders. That is a massive victory for the Silver and Black. And it can only mean good things, I would imagine. The scenarios where everybody else sucks in terms of production, but Key Crawford still has 5 sacks that's a very small percentage type scenario. So, if he's getting at the quarterback, that would lead you to believe the bigger dogs at this particular juncture are barking and biting at a better clip. We want to hear from you. 702-365-9200. We're talking pass rushers. We're talking getting after the quarterback. What do the numbers look like? Is there a breakout candidate on this roster? Who is the Robin to Max's Batman? 702-365-9200. It's the Tailgate.
We'll take your comments and questions on X. Follow us at RNR 920 AM. Let's dig into the morning tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Welcome back inside the morning tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Hey, Connor has arrived, and he brought gifts, apparently. A pair of tickets to see Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, my goodness. I don't want to give these away. Connor, do we have to give these away?
We do have to give these away.
What if they just, fell and we couldn't find them?
That would be very unfortunate. Unfortunately, I think we do have a good amount of listeners who are excited for these Jerry Seinfeld tickets.
And this thing's on right now? So they can hear everything?
They can hear both of us.
Okay, all right. Well, Connor, myself, and Vinny want to give you a pair of tickets to see Jerry Seinfeld play Friday. You can get your tickets Friday, 10 a.m. June 26th, 27th at Caesars Palace at the Coliseum. You don't want to miss the legend that is the comedian live in Las Vegas. Tickets from Ticketmaster. 702-365-9200 is the number. Connor, what number caller do you think is the lucky listener?
It's an early morning, so let's go with caller number 4. We'll make these people get on their toes.
Caller number 4. 2 tickets to see Seinfeld himself can be yours. All you got to do is call 702-365-9200 for shows on the 26th and 27th. Get you some Ramya. 702-365-9200. Vinny, back to Malcolm Kuntz, shall we? Back to Malcolm Kuntz. 5.5 sacks a year ago. How would you rate his season a year ago? Let's start there before we begin projecting next season. Coming off that knee injury that kept him out the entire prior season in 2024. Comes back last year. And Pete Carroll, I know we talked to him a lot in terms of where Malcolm was at, right? And it was always he's getting there, right? He's getting there was kind of always the verbiage being used, even really midway through the season before I think Pete kind of started talking about it looked like he was back to what it was. How did you view Malcolm Kuntz's 2025?
A disappointment. And 15 tackles, 5 sacks. in 501 snaps, of which 331 were pass snaps, 153 were on run snaps. He had 18 stops. He had 22 hurries, 35 pressures. I think everybody was expecting more, and I think the Raiders needed more. They weren't, they didn't get it. Obviously, his market reflected, I think, the disappointment that he had. I don't think that anyone was knocking his whole goal, and rightfully so. Signing the one-year deal was to prove it. He was healthy, and then he was, getting back on track to be the player that he was on the second half of the season in 2023.
Right.
That didn't happen. So I think that he would say that it was a disappointment, and I think the market shows that it was a disappointment, and now he's got one more year to kind of reprove it, or just prove it, that he can be the player that we saw over the second half of the 2023 season.
I kept saying 5.5 sacks. Sorry, 4.5 sacks was his total a year ago, and this is his 28-year-old season. And if you go back 2 years between Malcolm and Kwity, they each had 8 sacks.
Right.
What would the Raiders give to get those productions from those two players over here?
And it's not outlandish. It's happened before.
So I guess that's better. That's my question. I don't mean it to say, hey, is that crazy? That's not how I want to phrase that question.
But my question crazy would be by, that's never happened before.
Right, but how realistic is that to expect? Not just one, but both players returning to that form, albeit Malcolm Kuntz kind of a different reason with that injury, and I think we all understand that. But how realistic is that for the Raiders to, as we project, they're also projecting what kind of production they're going to get, specifically out of those two players coming off the edge on the other side of Maxx?
Yeah, and right now, the way we have it laid out, I guess it's not realistic. We're not giving it to him, right? I'm struggling to
paint a super rosy picture because we are now a couple years removed. Again, you can't ignore the knee injury that was for Malcolm Kuntz, and even in the 1 year that he had 8 sacks, right? How 6 of those came in the final 5 weeks? 4. What was that?
Yeah, it was over.
It came in bunches.
Yeah, he and the pressures were up, the hurries were up. So I'm just going to give him the second half of the 2023 season, not just in terms of sacks, but overall play. His play was over those last 8 games was really the high water mark for him, and that's the other part about with Malcolm is that he hadn't done it previously either. So it was one half of a season burst for him. That he's trying to get back to, that the Raiders are trying to get him back to, but in and around that one half of the season burst, it's been he just hasn't played like that. So that's why I'm saying, to get him back to his high water mark. Yeah. It's hard to get your mind there, even though it's not impossible. Where obviously he did it, so it's not impossible. But getting your mind there, you have to take into account the since that high water mark and before that high water mark. So there's way more evidence and data to say, okay, he never did that before or since. So how realistic is it to say that he could get back there this year?
Yeah. I like being optimistic. I like to choose positivity in the high end of my budget more often than not, Vinny. But sometimes, the rent's due. And we got to be realistic with what's what. But, hey, there's something to say for the chips that exist on players' shoulder. The proverbial knocks that they hear from the outside world. How that affects them, how that motivates them, and how that challenges them. How will Rob Leonard, their D-line coach, a guy who knows Malcolm better than maybe anybody at the NFL level, how's he going to challenge him? How's he going to get the most out of him? We want to hear from you. 702-365-9200. Hour number 2 on the way here on the Morning Tailgate.
This is the Morning Tailgate.
There have been plenty of other coaches, but why not us? Why not this staff? Why not this group of players? I look at it as what a great challenge. We're going to be about the work.
He is back, baby! And the Raiders regain the lead!
With Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor, and Clay Baker on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Flying through into hour number 2 here on the Morning Tailgate. Raider Nation Radio 920, 702-365-9200 is the number. We're talking pass rushers. We're talking about getting after the quarterback. And before we get there, Vinny, the news that is breaking this morning, the National Basketball Association, Dusty May, finalizing a deal to become the next Dallas Mavericks head coach.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those weeks in the NBA.
Boy.
So get yourself braced up. And by the way, this is coming to Las Vegas any day now. So all the drama that is the NBA offseason, which is every bit as dramatic as the NFL offseason, maybe more so because it's kind of a condensed type of a thing. Rather
I
than
would argue more
thing.
so, right? Because of the condensed nature.
Yeah, no, I do think that it is a little bit more, dramatic, maybe a lot more, and we love that. So did not see that one coming, but good on the Dallas Mavericks. They've got a nice young nucleus there in Dallas, and I'm sure Dusty May sees that, and I would imagine they have a pretty high draft pick as well again this year, so they're going to be able to add to it. And, why not? You climbed the mountain at Michigan, won the national championship. There's other peaks and valleys to get to and other aspirations. And obviously the money came calling, and he said, you know what? Why not? Let's give this a shot and see if I could go conquer the NBA mountain as well.
I love that the report is according to ESPN Shams Charania, Pete Thamel, and Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Noted Michigan alum. I wonder how we got that info.
They got their 17 sacks together. They teamed up for the big scoop.
There's 17 sources.
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
Vinny, were we not on the air just hours after the Luka trade happened? Because it happened in the middle of the night.
No, it was maybe the it would have been the very next morning.
Yeah. So
it was
later.
A Sunday. It was actually no. It was actually, to be honest with you, it was a Saturday. The only reason I remember that is because it was the Senior Bowl was that day. It was the Jack Besh Senior Bowl when he won MVP. So I just got back to my to the hotel, and I just filed my mock draft post Senior Bowl mock draft, which is one of the first ones that I do every year, and then boom, the whole world sort of came to life.
That ripple effect continues today with
sure.
that. I mean, Connor and I were talking during the break as we're seeing Dusty May all over our TVs this morning. Luka gets traded. My goodness, what Nico Harris. And we talk about the worst trade being the SGA trade in NBA history, right? Is this moving in first place? Now that we're just continuing to see the shockwaves and shambles and aftershock that is this Dallas Mavericks team. Am I overdoing it, or am I being a prisoner of the moment?
No, it was a bad sequence. Losing Jalen Brunson and then obviously trading Luka.
That's right. I keep forgetting about Jalen Brunson.
Not a good. Okay, and we're talking about the worst. This came across my X timeline today, and I had to respond.
Yeah.
All right. This is from, and I'm going to give Erie Dogs Part 2, and it's at Juggernaut Braun.
Okay.
So that's his handle. Erie Dogs PT. Period 2 at Juggernaut Braun. I want to give this guy full credit, for what he said. So please go out there and hunt him down. And if you have a comment to make or a reaction to this take, we talk about the worst trade in NBA history. This might be the worst Twitter take in NBA history and sports history. All right, Erie Dogs PT.2 at Juggernaut Braun, said he puts out it's the 1991 All-NBA second team. It wasn't even the first team, it was the second team. And this 1991 All-NBA second team was Kevin Johnson, Clyde Drexler, Chris Mullin, Dominique Wilkins, and Patrick Ewing. That, in some years, could have been your first team All-NBA team, but in 1991, it was your second team All-NBA team. I'll give it again. Kevin Johnson, the fantastic guard from the Phoenix Suns, was just a handful. Clyde Drexler, one of my favorite players of all time. Clyde the Glide, fantastic player. The Portland Trailblazers didn't draft Michael Jordan because they had Clyde on the roster, and they were like, it would be a duplicate. Chris Mullin, that was a mistake, obviously, but that's how good Clyde Drexler was, right? Chris Mullin, fantastic player, St. John's, just a great player. Dominique Wilkins, do I need to say any more than those two names, right? Patrick Ewing. This is what Erie Dogs, PT2, at Juggernaut Braun had to say. Not a single one of these guys is getting minutes in the modern NBA. I'm going to repeat that. Not a single one of these guys is getting minutes in the modern NBA. Ewing wouldn't even be in the NBA.
Wow.
That was his take.
Wow.
Erie, these guys would be every bit as good, and in some cases better, in today's modern NBA. You're talking about 5 fantastic basketball players. I don't know what prompted you, or maybe what you didn't see, and you probably didn't see it. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say he did not watch these guys play. He couldn't have. There's no possible way that you could have actually watched these guys play and come to that conclusion. So
I'm looking at Connor right now, and I'm flabbergasted by he just looks downright pissed. Connor looks very angry at that take. Patrick Ewing
Wilkins would not
be in the league.
Right.
Or
wouldn't
Connor,
be
was that
getting
you?
minutes.
Did you send that tweet? Is that your burner?
No,
okay,
I can't say I would do something like that. Those are two greats. I don't think I would put those.
Patrick Ewing wouldn't be in the NBA.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know about that.
That's a strong take. You got to give it to him. You may not agree with the take.
In a league where
that's a strong take.
Where who was the starting center for the Lakers last year?
DeAndre Ayton.
In a league where DeAndre Ayton started for the Lakers, if you don't think Patrick Ewing would be in the NBA, are we serious right now? Like, Ayton had a important role for the Lakers last year. If you put Patrick Ewing and asked him at center for the Lakers last year, they're winning the NBA. They may win the NBA championship. He would be exactly what they need. He'd be 10 times better than what DeAndre was for the Lakers. Am I right, Vince? Come on.
I mean, it's just, again, to each their own. But I do sometimes I wonder on these social medias.
I covered the Phoenix Suns for about a year and a half, and I'll tell you what, they were rolling out guys like Nick Robinson, or let's say.
I just don't know how many of them believe what they're actually putting down. That's my biggest thing.
Well, I mean, we live in a world where you can put out crazy stuff, negative engagement, just hot takes, and if people are clicking it, you can get paid for it. People don't care what they're saying anymore. They just want to get paid.
I hope that that's the case.
I couldn't imagine somebody walking into a bar and honestly telling their friends, Patrick Ewing wouldn't play in today's NBA.
Yeah,
honestly, though, let's get Adam Hill on our show, because Adam Hill has this take. Adam Hill has
that Patrick Ewing wouldn't play?
Adam Hill's take is that Larry Bird would just be another guy.
We'll get him on Wednesday.
Today's NBA.
We'll get him on Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's save that. Let's save that because he feels like the athletic ability is so fantastic. And I'm like, and my thing is, Jalen Brunson just won the NBA Finals MVP by a landslide, led his team to an NBA Final, and is he a great athlete, Vince?
I would say he is a superior athlete.
No, he's actually. You know what I'm saying? Like in today's high jumping and all that.
Okay, yes. In terms of that, he's not flying all. But he's still a superior athlete.
Of course he is.
Amongst the world. But I think that's the other thing that people say is like, this guy is not an athlete. Okay, he may not be the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the guy next to him in the gym, but he is still still the 1% of the 1% in this world. Yeah, he's a hell of an athlete.
Right, exactly. And Adam's point is always the athletic ability is so much better that Larry Bird could not possibly survive. And I'm like, Luka, the center for the Denver Nuggets, who's not a superior athlete.
Joker, yeah.
James Harden isn't a superior. He's not a high-flying Duncan guy that's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get all three of those guys, Jalen, Harden, and the Denver Nuggets, they get by on other things other than high-flying athletic ability. If they can survive, not just survive, dominate. They've dominated in this league, in this league that Adam thinks is just so superior from an athletic standpoint compared to where it was, 25, 30 years ago. That for those guys to be able to succeed as they do is proof that you don't have to always be that. That's not what gets it done. There's all sorts, like you said, they're in their own way. They are fantastic athletes. Larry Bird was a fantastic athlete. Magic Johnson was a fantastic athlete.
What Jalen Brunson has to do in order to do what he's doing is one-of-one type stuff because of his size, because he isn't the fastest 40 guy or shuttle time, but the fact that he's able to do the things he's doing against those guys is
skill,
is athleticism in its own way.
Of course, and it's just superior skills. Like, it's a skill set that is so unbelievable in eyes, angles, timing, pump fakes, all of those things that the great players throughout the course of the NBA have always possessed and always had and always got them by. And so it's not all about athletic ability, and that's what this guy's trying to say. Even though, have you ever seen Wilkins? He's one of the greatest dunkers, high flyers of all times. Of course, his athlete. Clyde Drexler is. It's Phi Beta Kappa, for crying out loud. He's jumping out of the gym and always jumped out of the gym. Kevin Johnson was you could not defend him one-on-one. He was so fast, so quick, so highly skilled, so strong for his size. It's unbelievable that people could have this take. Like, you can't take great players from one era and have them be great players in this era. They would. Absolutely, 1,000%.
I just have one simple response to that. If Joe Ingles can play in today's NBA, I think Larry Bird could.
Larry
if
Bird
Dean Wade
would
could
destroy
play in
people.
today's NBA, I think Larry Bird could.
Yeah, Larry Bird would still be destroying people. He was so highly skilled in an unbelievable way from a shooting perspective, from an everything. Hand could go right, could go left. Just saw the floor, was a great passer, and same with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson he wasn't a big leaper or anything like that. He didn't need to be, and because he was so highly skilled in every other area. So
two things. If I could bring in a hockey reference for a moment, Phil Kessel, Stanley Cup, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He is also one of the holders of the Ironman record for the longest consecutive games played in NHL history. Right, and he notoriously did not work out, was not the most athletic, yet when it was time to test in the gym, he was constantly at the top. He had the best I'm blanking on the exact terminology, but his ability to my goodness, his wind rate is on the bike. He could go longer than anybody. He could lift as much as anybody in the gym. Never worked out. Ate hot dogs before every game in soda. It doesn't make any sense. But he was still. Are you going to call him not an athlete? He kept himself in shape, kept himself healthy for over 1,000 games. Anyways, we could go on and on. One other point that I have, since we are talking NBA. I see that Becky Hammon continues to be just being raked through the coals for her 2023 take on Jalen Brunson not being what did she say? He's not a 1A guy, or because he's too small, right? Is basically the gist of it. And now there is, at least what I'm seeing on my socials, Vinny, I don't know what you're seeing, but just she needs to come out and apologize. She hasn't publicly spoken since saying that. And my whole thing is, since when are people apologizing for takes? or opinions that are wrong.
Right.
Why is Becky Hammond all of a sudden being asked to?
She's not the only one that questioned, the money that the New York Knicks invested in Jalen Brunson. Go back.
But I mean, forget you. I'm talking about anybody.
I know.
Any talking head that has ever been wrong. Why all of a sudden are we now sitting there saying, "Where's the apology? Where's the public statement of apology for your wrong take?" I just drove in and listened to 20 wrong takes in real time, and not a single person apologized.
Right. Kenyon Martin was on, the podcast that he does, the show that he does, railing on her. And I'm like, dude, I've heard some of the most ridiculous things coming out of your mouth on takes, and I'm not holding it against you, even though I had to laugh plenty of times when I heard some of the things that you said. You want to go back and rewind all of your bad takes, and you be held to the accountability that you're putting on Becky. I think it's ridiculous, and I think there's some sexism going on there as well. I don't know, without any question, she's being singled out for that, because there's still a segment of our society that just can't get over the fact that there's a really smart woman that's up there talking about sports and telling them about sports, which is ridiculous, and and it says a lot about that person. But and I'm not saying that Kenyon is saying that, but I feel like there's some piling on going on, with Becky, and I think that there's some reason behind that. Maybe not so much in his case, but in a larger sense, without question.
Yeah, I just don't. She didn't say it. She said it as an analyst.
And he did need help, by the way. He's been in New York for. I mean, there was nobody is under. And here's the thing. Also, it's tougher for a smaller dude to be the 1A on an NBA basketball team. It is. I mean, that's historically the case, is why it's happened so few times. I mean, my favorite. Everyone wants to go to Allen Iverson. I'll go to Isaiah Thomas. He was the best little dude, quote unquote, that I've seen in the NBA, and did take the Pistons, to multiple finals, and they won multiple championships. But he obviously needed help. He needed, all the Joe Dumars and the Bill Laimbeers and everyone else, the Mark Aguirres, that he had around him. Just like Jalen obviously needed Kat, and he needed Josh Hart, and he needed that whole group to kind of come together. So there's never been a one-man show to begin with, whether you're a tall guy, a big guy, or a small guy.
People, these takes, we see a wrong take every single
daily,
day.
Multiple times,
single day. I just don't know why all of a sudden now there is a massive response for a public apology.
Right.
It's just, by the way, she's a Hall of Famer for BT Dubs. Like, she doesn't have to apologize to anybody about anything.
Right.
I couldn't believe that I was still seeing it on my timeline, which is, for full transparency, not a heavy NBA timeline to begin with, but I get what I need, right?
Right.
Very loud. Even today, what is this, a week later? How many, Connor, how many days did they win it?
It's probably, I want to say it's been at least, no, it was a little past. Yeah, it's been over a week.
It's been over a week.
We're about 11 days in.
Yeah, so I'm still seeing it. I couldn't help but laugh, but then I'm perturbed by it. But anyways, I digress. Who knew Dusty May was going to make us delve into all that? Way to go, Dusty. New head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. He gets to coach Cooper Flagg. I bet he's pretty pumped about that. I imagine
definitely.
That's got to be tier 1 of why you're taking the job. Right?
Yeah,
besides money,
I'm sure they've got money under the cap, and I'm sure they, they have. Where did they finish last year? They didn't make the playoffs, so I'm sure they have. I haven't checked to see where their number 1 pick is this year, but it's a really good draft. So, I guess if you have a top 10 pick,
who's their next guy, Connor? Who's the Mavs' next guy besides Cooper Flagg? What's Dusty May working with here?
Well, I mean, depending on how they go about their team building and free agency, they still had Kyrie Irving to work around with. They still have Klay Thompson to work around with. I believe
older.
Najee Marshall is still in there. So they had a few few guys there.
But it's a little old.
It's an older roster, though. And that's why a lot of people gave Nico Harrison a lot of flack for trading away a young superstar to bring in a older player. Now, granted, the guy's not even on the team anymore.
Yeah, where's Anthony Davis? Where's he?
He's in Washington.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But I thought he
The
got
Mavericks had the
traded
ninth pick overall.
I thought Anthony Davis was traded for Luka. How is he not in Dallas right now? I thought he was.
Quick turnaround for Anthony Davis.
I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of
which is not a bad thing.
Speaking of public apologies, that should be necessary.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that was a bad thing for the Mavericks because he's getting up there in age, so you're getting assets, you're getting a bunch of draft picks and salary cap space to now build around Cooper Flagg. It's going to take a couple of years, kind of like the Oklahoma City Thunder did, trading Paul George and doing all those moves that they make, and voila, a few years later they're an NBA powerhouse. The San Antonio Spurs kind of did the same thing. So I'm not necessarily. I mean, I totally blame them for trading for or trading Luka. I think the Anthony Davis trade could end up being an astute move on their part to now maximize that asset with future assets, and more in line with what they're building in Dallas.
We, Vinny Connor arrives and he just has a treasure trove of gifts and giveaways for us. The Summer of Fun kicks off today. We're going to get to that. You do not want to miss that here on the Morning Tailgate. But be caller number 3, Connor says. Caller number 3. And you can win a pair of tickets to see Smash Mouth at the pool at Sahara, Las Vegas to celebrate America's 250th birthday on the 4th of July. Tickets are here. They're ready to be picked up right now. Be caller number 3, 702-365-9200, Sahara, Las Vegas, Smash Mouth. Those tickets could be yours for the 4th of July right here on the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920.
Vince, Vinny, and Clay want to hear from you. Call or text the show at 702-365-9200. Now, back to the Morning Tailgate.
Welcome back inside the Morning Tailgate. Up on the text line. By the way, we're just giving away so many things today. Connor just going into
we're not
the bag.
done.
We're not done. We got the Summer of Fun. Summer of Fun starts today, Vinny.
Love it. Going to a summer kickoff party on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you need a plus one?
No, I'm good. I'm good, Vince. From an old friend that I worked with when we were with the Los Angeles Lakers back in the day. So we're having kind of a reunion. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you want a plus one? I asked if you needed one. You said no. So I'll ask you one.
Let me think about that, Vince. I'll think about that, buddy.
T-Biz up on the text line says that is an unreal take. Back in the day, there was no free movement. Jordan and those guys would all average over 30 points per game. Bird would kill these dudes.
He would, actually. So would Magic.
It's just... It's so... I recognize how difficult it is to properly compare and try and place this guy in this era with this team and this type of... I understand that is not an easy or it is not black and white in that sense. I get that. But to say those guys wouldn't be in the league is just... That's something.
They wouldn't be getting any minutes. Is just an insane take. When I see guys that are getting minutes, like DeAndre Ayton, big minutes. If you don't think that Patrick Ewing would be getting major minutes on a big time team, you're just crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. You obviously, I'm gonna. There's no way that he could have actually watched those guys play and come to that conclusion. There's just zero.
Eric says, first of all, what knucklehead actually prefers today's NBA over the NBA of the 80s?
Yeah.
That's another sweet take. All right. Let's get back to the topic at hand, 702-365-9200. Pass rushers. Who needs to be that guy opposite Maxx Crosby? Does that exist on this roster? Is there a breakout guy in waiting? Keyron Crawford signs his rookie deal on Sunday. Now just 2 players from the Raiders rookie draft class yet to sign that rookie deal. Funky Raider says, good morning, my Funketeers. Had a great weekend celebrating Juneteenth Friday, Father's Day on Sunday. But I'm going to go with Kuntz and Key Bud Crawford to have the second and third most sacks on the roster, clearly behind one Maxx Crosby. So if Keyron Crawford has the third most sacks on this roster, that tells you what, Vinny? If Keyron Crawford is only behind Max and Malcolm, that tells you what?
Well, then I think he's having I guess you could look at it 2 ways, but I'm going to be optimistic and say that he had a good, solid rookie season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's probably the more likelier of the 2. I would hope. maybe that's just the optimism. But Keyron Crawford, he talked about, we're going to hear from him. We're going to play his audio from rookie camp coming up in hour number 3 because I want to hear from him, and I want Raider Nation to be reminded of like what they're getting in this guy who just signed. Because I think the other important part in terms of not only hearing from him, but when he spoke was also the day Fernando Mendoza spoke. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of attention on the Mandalorian and everything that he said or didn't say or all that stuff. So I don't want to say he kind of got pushed aside, but he kind of got pushed aside, right? At least early on, especially for the fact that there was a couple question marks because he didn't practice that second day of minicamp. He was asked, it was a heavy load, so they just wanted me to watch. You're sitting there saying, what does that mean? It's a lot, right? Like it is a lot. Begs the question, though, what was the overload? We can't answer that question here per se. But in terms of what they're getting, I don't want to say Keyron Crawford has to be a guy that produces from day one, but there has to be production at the end of his rookie year, right? This isn't a redshirt type situation with Charles Grant a year ago. There has to be some production. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I think I would be surprised if he didn't work his way into the rotation and stays healthy and appears at all 17 games and gets a healthy amount of snaps per game. Let's just say 25 to 30 snaps per game.
Okay.
Maybe 20 to 25.
You figure the defense is on the field between 65, if it's a real tough game, 85 play. I mean, 85 is a lot, but 65, 80 plays, right? So about a quarter of those snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, that's why it's not necessarily fair to sit there, and I'm thinking in my head we're doing numbers, right? It's June 22nd. We're prognosticating numbers. 12 to 15 sacks for Max. Kwity Paye, Malcolm Kuntz have to produce. Those are the have to guys. Kwity Paye has to produce. Malcolm Kuntz has to produce. Regardless of what the number is, there has to be production. Keyron Crawford's production can be can progress, I guess. But when we look at his resume at the end of the season, we can't be just a bunch of zeros or single digits in tackles or things of that nature. Because that's his other claim to fame, right? Claim to fame. It's TFLs, getting in the backfield and making stops. He's an A-plus tackler from college. It's his violent nature that he's able to get guys down. not many get loose, right? Like that's his first step is always his other big claim to fame. What's elite? If there's anything elite in his game, it's his get off, his first step, and which has allowed him to get, which is going to help that transition of getting to the quarterback at the NFL level, right? Like that's a huge plus. That's something that we talked about. Tyree just simply did not have for whatever reason, whether he was thinking, whether he just didn't have that quick get off. That is what Keyron Crawford has. He has that get off. It's the rest of it that he's, the technique, the bull rush, the spin. What does he have in his arsenal to get past after he gets stuffed on that first get off, right? Or gets blindsided on the left? How does he react? That's going to be a big part of it. But there has to be. I guess I'm trying to go back and forth, Vinny. Does he have to be the number 4 guy? Does he have to be part of that core 4, or is there somebody else?
From the off the edge?
Off the edge, yeah.
Yeah, no. He definitely
has to be,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the tough part, because that is, again, there's pressure going to be on everybody to perform at some level, and he's not without that. But how much can you actually put on his shoulders?
Like I said, 20 to 25 snaps. From
the get-go, but I guess that's what I'm asking is certain guys are going to get their snaps day one, right? Regardless. Like, at what point is he getting those is my question, because we saw year, different coaching staff, different philosophy. I get it. So I'm not comparing apples to apples, but you saw a very slow integration of rookies. Like, what is the expectation without us seeing training camp or seeing how these guys look? I understand that. Again, this is why I'm putting the context. It's June 22nd. We haven't even gotten to training camp yet. But is it a slow progression? Is it a slow integration? Or does this guy have to be part of the rotation day one?
I think day one, yeah. Okay. I think that day one, I'm looking at that 20 to 25 snaps, yeah, per game, day one. I think that that's a realistic goal and number for him.
When you look at the other options that exist, in terms of now, we have purposefully not talked about the Tonkas, Jonas, Adam Butlers, JJ Pegueses as part of this. We're talking edge rushers. But you have to include those guys in turn when we're talking production, because I do think Tonka Hemingway takes a big step, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I think Jonah takes a step. I don't know what Jonah's step is in terms of production sack total wise, but I think he takes a step as the defensive tackle football player he is. I think another big part of the equation that could only add to the numbers for those guys that we keep talking about in terms of Key, Malcolm, Quiddy, and obviously Max is Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. Now, we have not seen Nakobe Dean on the field. We haven't seen anybody in pads, so I'm not going to worry until there's things to worry about. But come training camp, Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker are part of those equations. Those are two guys that are also going to be part of the pass rushing equation in some manner, whether they're getting home or they're allowing somebody else to get home, which is a dynamic that did not exist on this team since they've been in Vegas. Linebackers that can rush. Am I missing somebody? Like Robert Spillane did not rush the quarterback the way Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean are going to be used or could be used to. Divine Diablo, what might be the closest?
Yeah, and he was more of a
because in terms of his athleticism, where they kind of put him in different. He was kind of just a big, strong safety, smaller linebacker that had to bulk up. But I'm talking Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean didn't. Their linebackers like this in their time in Vegas have not existed that they are true threats to get after the quarterback, which is part of the equation for these edge rushers getting home to said quarterback.
Right, correct. I think that when you look at it from that perspective, I think these two linebackers have the best skill set for pass rushing compared to other linebackers that the Raiders have had here over the years. So, and I think with the switch to the defense that they are going to play, and I think this is going to be a more aggressive kind of a defense. I just feel like Robbie Leonard is a little bit wired that way. I think you're going to see more of those two players involved in the pass rush compared to their predecessors.
When you look at the defensive tackles, I think Tonka Hemingway leads the defensive tackle group in sacks this year. Is that outlandish?
No, not outlandish. I think Jonah is going to. I think that he has a chance to increase the volume of his sacks. I like J.J. Pegues a lot. I think that he's going to also factor in there. But based on what we saw last year, toward the end of last year, I think there's every reason to believe that Tonka Hemingway can take another step forward, especially with more playing time and more opportunities.
For all those reasons, that's why I look at this, and I'm going to call them pass rushers now, not just the edge rushers. I'm talking about the pass rushers in total for this defense. You talked about it being the collective, right, of getting to that certain number. I think the number we put out weeks ago for the collective was 50, right? They had 37, or it was 30, 37 and a half, 38, somewhere around there last season in terms of total sack numbers. I think getting to that 50 mark, it was our kind of benchmark of what progress looked like for the Raiders. And for me, that collective is almost parallel to what we're seeing on the offensive side with the pass catchers, right? Like you have Maxx, who's the standalone, who you expect everything out of. Brock Bowers is the standalone pass catcher who you expect everything out of. The rest of it is a collective in terms of getting to those numbers, whether it's on the offensive side, touchdown numbers, or just receiving numbers, catches, obviously. But on the defensive side, it's really those sack numbers. And that's really the end-all, be-all for that grouping, is getting to that collective number. So the way the Raiders are built right now, yeah, they have some stars at some positions, but in terms of the success of the team, the collective is I feel like that's going to be a massive theme.
I agree. Yeah, and we're also, the pressures, the quarterback hits, the hurries also factor into that. We are putting that bottom line on the sacks themselves, but I think that those other numbers also, we need to, be cognizant of that, creating havoc, forcing quarterbacks into bad positions and bad throws, which can lead to us, turnovers down on the back end of your defense. So all of those things, but obviously sacks is the first thing we're always going to look at.
702-365-9200. More conversation on the way here on the Morning Tailgate.
We'll take your comments and questions on X. Follow us at RNR 920 AM. Let's dig into the Morning Tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Welcome back inside the tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Best way to improve sack total, getting teams third and long, says Snake Man. Then he says, any historical metrics on such scenario? Connor, you got those metrics?
Not on me, but we could check.
I mean, seems pretty safe to say.
I would say if you can get after the quarterback, you're doing the job right.
Third and longs.
Results will come.
Third and longs, I would say, would probably produce a high clip of sacks.
Stop the run and you can reward yourself.
There you go.
Connor and Vince. One more on this NBA thing, please. It's a Monday.
Okay.
It's June.
All right.
We got a month to go, or however many weeks.
Yep.
Kevin Johnson, Clyde Drexler, Chris Mullen, Dominique Wilkins, Patrick Ewing is your starting five.
Yeah.
In 2026.
Okay.
2027.
Got it.
How many games do you think that starting five is going to win in the NBA right now? That as your starting five, and obviously you got a bench.
Is that so? We're taking those five from the five from that year, right? Where they were the second right?
Yeah, whatever. You don't want to say the 1991 versions of all these guys or whatever.
So, I'm going to say 38.
I'm going to say over 50 games this team wins. Without question. I mean, you give this team a training camp and a bench.
Oh, you didn't tell me about training camp and a bench. I thought it was just a 5.
No,
I was like, these 5 can handle it.
No, come on. That's our starting 5.
I'd say
you
no.
Could fill in the.
Okay. Jokes aside, let's be serious, Connor. Stop it, Connor.
50 to 60 wins.
I mean, that's an all-star team. I mean, of course.
Right? I mean, Connor.
Yeah, it's a 45 to 50 win team, I would say.
It's Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
But it's Hall of Famers. Yes, they're going to win a crap ton of games.
They got to complement each other's play, too, though.
Oh, now Connor's worried about chemistry. Connor's worried about the chemistry now.
I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking it fits perfectly. Actually, it fits perfectly. You got a one extraordinaire in Kevin Johnson. You got, obviously Chris Mullen would probably be your 2. Clyde Drexler is going to be your. Especially in today's NBA, with the positionless aspect, of it. Dominique Wilkins could go all over the court. He could handle. He could shoot.
How many wins did the Golden State, the record?
73.
And how many Hall of Famers were on that team? That we believe will be Hall of Famers, obviously.
Are we talking about the Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin, I would say 4. There's 4 NBA Hall of Famers on that team.
Who? Depends where you rank Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston, where they can come down. Those guys had long careers.
I know, but you're talking about Hall of Famers.
They're not Hall of Famers.
Yeah, we're talking like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry.
Andre Iguodala could make a case. The way the NBA lets people
if you want to,
Draymond Green probably.
Draymond's
could be.
And then Clay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're saying 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they won how many games?
72.
Yeah. You put 4 Hall of Famers on a basketball team, they're going to win a crap ton of games.
And this is 5.
Yes.
These are 5 Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Connor's still worried about the chemistry.
I like the chemistry of this team.
Connor, don't worry. We'll get the team chemistry going in training camp. All right.
Oh man,
they don't have to.
It's gonna be a lot of guys wanting the ball. How's the spacing gonna work? Patrick Ewing clogging up the lanes while Clyde's going to the basket. Dominique's gonna try to get down there.
He's just gonna glide his way past everyone. It's okay. It's okay. Dominique's gonna jump over.
Okay,
everybody.
you guys convinced me. It's a 50 to 55 win team. I'll give him the extra 5.
That's first place. That's the top. That's the best record.
Yeah. Right.
That's the best record in today's NBA.
What did the Detroit Pistons finish with? 60 something?
Oh, did they get 60?
I think your best team in the NBA today's league is a 60 win team.
Right,
but that's why there's even more wins.
60 games.
But that's why there's even more wins to be had during the season because the disparity between top and bottom is larger now than it was then.
I would hope you're winning games if you have all these Hall of Famers on the same team. If you're not, that's a coaching issue.
I'm just saying if Detroit can win 60 games, this team would win 55 to 60 games. Like literally, you name me the roster for the Detroit Pistons right now.
Wait, Dame St. Durant wasn't on that team, the 72-win team? Are my timelines messed up?
I don't think he was on that team.
Yeah, so there you go. He wasn't, so they didn't even have 4 Hall of Famers. Thanks, Dame. You just helped prove the point even more.
Yeah. I think those teams were better than the 72-win team, with Kevin Durant on the team.
I want to know what Dame, text in. How many wins does that starting 5? Name the starters again.
It was, I believe, for that 72-win team, you were looking at Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and it was Andrew Bogut.
And you're talking Johnson, Mullen, Wilkins,
Patrick Ewing,
and Clyde.
Drexler.
How many wins? Dame, I want to know. Tell me, Dame. It's the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920.
This is the Morning Tailgate.
I'll just tell the Raider Nation that we have to earn your trust. We got to earn those seats in the stands by putting a great product on the field. Words will not do it. It's our actions.
With Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor, and Clay Baker on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Hour number 3 here on the Morning Tailgate. It's Raider Nation Radio 920, the flagship for the Silver and Black. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor, coming to you live from Las Vegas on a Monday, June 22nd, 2026. Don't forget, we are going to kick off our Summer of Fun contest here in about 20 to 25 minutes, so make sure you stick around for the word of the day. Connor on the ones and twos, he's been giving gifts away all morning. And that ain't going to stop anytime soon today or this week. We're talking Raiders. We're talking pass rushers. Who's going to be that guy opposite Maxx Crosby? Who can be that guy? Sans Maxx Crosby. We have calls patiently waiting. We're going to get to them in a minute, but we have to continue. How we left off hour number 2, we've gone into this debate, and I got my timelines messed up, so I apologize. Durant was not on the 70-plus win team for Golden State. That was the next year, okay? But the point still stands. They had 3 Hall of Famers on that 73-win team, as has been pointed out. Charles in Oregon, massive Warriors fan, had to correct us, and thankfully he did. Thankfully he did. Now, I did ask Dame who wins. And give me that, and Connor, give me that 73-win lineup.
You're looking at Steph Curry at point guard, Klay Thompson at your 2, Draymond is playing your 3,
okay.
Andre's at 4, Andre Iguodala that is, and then at your 5 was Andrew Bogut, if I'm correct.
Okay, that sounds right. Vinny, the stars of the late 80s, early 90s, depending on how we're looking at it, but it was the second team All-Stars, correct? It was Chris Mullin, Dominique Wilkins, Clyde Drexler, Kevin Johnson, and Patrick Ewing. Do I have that
second
correct?
Team All-NBA.
Sorry. Yes.
All-NBA.
All-NBA. And so now the debate has become by some on social media saying that they wouldn't even get minutes.
Patrick Ewing wouldn't even be in the NBA.
Patrick Ewing wouldn't be in the NBA.
In a league where DeAndre Ayton was the starter on what were the Lakers? The fourth best team in the Western Conference last year, fifth best team in the Western Conference.
Did they finish fourth or fifth? It was one of the two.
Somewhere around there.
But Dame in Oakland says, we cooked that old school team with speed, handles, and shooting, but I don't like comparing eras, though.
Who cooks? We as now?
The modern NBA, I believe, is what he's saying.
Kevin Johnson was a blink of an eye fast. Like, he was incredible. You can't. There's no one guy in the NBA that's defending Kevin Johnson's speed, quickness, handles. My God, handles. We talking about handles with Kevin Johnson and Clyde Drexler? You gotta be kidding me.
Darkside said at minimum 60 wins in the league for that starting 5.
Yeah.
At minimum, he says.
What did Austin Reeves average this year? Is he a blur? Is he fast? He's a lot like a Chris Mullin type of a player. Skilled, can shoot, can dribble, can pass. I mean, he's has a nice skill set. It's not anything. It's Chris Mullin is more skilled.
How about Go ahead.
Than Austin Reeves, who I love.
Gage up on the text line. Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, Vlade Divac, Hato, and Weber, the O2 Kings, would dominate the championship Knicks of this year.
I agree.
Connor does not agree. Connor, weigh in. Your face said too much. You got to use the words.
That was a tremendous basketball team.
That was a really good team. And granted, now that's still in my younger years, right? So I was watching a lot of their highlights.
It was Turkoglu, baby. The greatest name ever.
We're talking about a team that just put on one of the best postseason offensive performances we've ever seen in NBA history.
Didn't we say that about the Thunder last season?
Yeah, and to be fair, I think if the Thunder ran into the Knicks, it probably would have looked similar to what happened with San Antonio.
The Sacramento Kings would have beat this year's New York Knicks. I'm just that Sacramento teams. The only reason the Kings didn't win, one or maybe even 2 NBA championships was because of the Lakers. That's it. That was it. They go on and destroy. That year, the year that we're talking about, where they went to the Western Conference Finals, they had home court advantage. The Lakers won Games 1 in Sacramento and Game 7 in Sacramento. I was there throughout that series, And the Lakers then went in and steamrolled the New Jersey Nets that year with Jason Kidd and with Kenyon Martin, and Richard Jefferson was on that team. It was a pretty darn good New Jersey Nets team, but the Kings would have swept the Nets that year just like the Lakers did, and both the Lakers and the Kings would have beaten the Knicks, this year's Knicks team, probably in 5 games. Minimum.
Did Doug Christie miss a 3-pointer that season?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think so. He was unbelievable.
Vinny was fantastic.
I remember I think it was NBA 03, the video game.
Mm-hmm.
I would be the Kings just for Doug Christie from 3-land because he didn't miss in the game. I thought I beat the system by doing that. But anyways, that's a fun discussion. Again, apologies. I got the Kevin Durant year messed up.
But I'll say this: the Kevin Durant Warriors were better than the 72-win Warriors. They did some things. I think they figured out, because remember they lost the final that year when they won the 72 games. They lost the finals that year. I think they figured out, like, hey, do we really go for it to win 72 games? They could have easily won 72 games with the that Kevin Durant team, but I think they wisely managed the season in order to win the NBA championship. So my contention is, even though we want to put 72 wins on that team, and just by regular season record, they were better than the Warriors with Kevin Durant. The Warriors with Kevin Durant would have beaten that 72 win team, and obviously that Kevin Durant Warriors team went on and won the NBA Finals, whereas the one that won 72 games didn't.
Got a little bit of news. You ready for some news?
Yeah.
It's official. Rookies for your Raiders will report to training camp 4 weeks and 3 days from now.
Yep.
July 23rd, veterans will report. July 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think these are dates that we knew, but they became official within moments ago. So let's make sure we're keeping things on the up and up with official. And the joint practices also became official throughout the National Football League with your Las Vegas Raiders, as we know, in Houston on maybe the greatest day of the entire year, August 18th. So take that. Training camp, a month away. Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the guy as we transition back to the silver and black? Up on the phones, patiently waiting. We appreciate him. Our resident Raiders historian, Raider66. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy late June. Belated Happy Father's Day. I don't know if I missed a birthday. I think we celebrated your birthday already, but there it is again. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, guys. Yeah, belated Happy Father's Day to everybody. And, oh, my goodness. I tell you, I just hate the conversations where the greats of the past get disrespected. It just really bothers me.
Connor started
like they
it.
had no talent.
Blame Connor,
they
66.
Were all slow. You know what? You take that starting five and you put that no talent Larry Bird on there, as a 6-man. They're knocking at the door to breaking the record. I'm telling you, these guys, today's game with the 3-point play, it is so much about individuality, and these guys used to play team ball. They would shut down. They'd say, okay, you shoot your threes. This guy gets his points. Everybody else, we're going to shut you down. Everybody else, we're going to shut you down, and it just drives me nuts. They would win minimum 60 games, and it just cracks me up. But anyway, we're talking about who needs to come through in the sacks. I think we need Kuntz to get back to a year and a half, 2 years ago. He's the guy that needs to show that he's still got it, that he's recovered from the injury, and that the Raiders' faith in him is paying off. And he needs to be that Robin to Batman, to Max's Batman. The sack is like the home run in baseball. It is the impact play that gets people going. And unfortunately, it didn't become an official stat until 1982. So there's a lot of great guys out there that have been overlooked. A couple of them. The Raiders have their own guy. Tony Klein was a rookie in 1970. He holds the unofficial AFC rookie record with 17.5 sacks that rookie year. The Raiders' official record, by the way, is 10.5 from Greg Townsend, and Max chipped in with 10 his rookie year. But this kid from Detroit, Al Bubba Baker, first year of the 16-game schedule in the NFL, 1978, 23 sacks as a rookie. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. The guy was a monster. You couldn't block him. But the record, as we all know, is Javon Curse, 14.5. But, yes, Max is going to be the star. He's going to be Keyron. You need that. I want to see these second-year guys. I know Tonka and I forget the other guy's name. Starts with Janice. Those guys in the middle need to push up, and they need to get that pressure on the quarterback. And to Snake Man's text about third and long is the time to get the sacks. Unfortunately, not if you're a Raider. The last several years, we have been the worst defense on third and long. How many third and 11s have teams converted against us? How many third and 13s have they? Drives me nuts. So we need to fix that. But as far as the sacks go, it is a great stat. It's only been around for a few decades. But we need Kuntz to get back to his old style that he was rounding into before he got hurt. And we need him to have 9-10 sacks just to get Max where he's supposed to be. Max needs the help. We got to do it. Thanks for the time, guys. But the old guys would do it. They'd win 50 games, 60 games. It just cracks me up. Yes. Go Raiders. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Great stuff, 66, as always. 66, the man. 66 is he was getting so disgusted listening to the disrespect for the older generation.
I love how he said Larry Bird is the sixth man. I got to respectfully disagree. I think Chris Mullin would probably, or Clyde would probably be the sixth man in that. Because remember, that was the NBA second team All-NBA team. So there was an even better version in 1991. I'll take a look at that.
Just to be clear, Vinny, if you did add Larry Bird to that and you moved, let's say it was Clyde or Wilkins off to your sixth man, I would change my mind. That's a 65-plus win team. Now you got some shooters on the court. Like I said, we were talking about the spacing, Patrick Ewing clogging up the lanes. You get a couple shooters out there with Chris Mullin, Larry Bird. Okay, now I'm looking at you a little different. Okay, it's a modern day's game.
Oh, now Connor's feeling it. Now Connor's all of a sudden warming up to the idea.
By the way, the 91 first team was David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan.
You think they'd play today?
Yeah.
You think they'd?
So give me. Let's just do this. You give me the 90, and I could go back even further, but anyway, we'll do that. You give me the 1990-91 first and second All-NBA. Let's just do it that way. So our team would be in 90-91. It would be David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Dominique Wilkins, Clyde Drexler, and Kevin Johnson. That's our starting. And if you want to go third team, let's how many guys are in the NBA? 15 teams. 15 players make up an NBA team now. So the third team would be Hakeem Olajuwon, Bernard King, James Worthy, Joe Dumars, and John Stockton. So let's take our top, the 1990-91 first, second, and third All-NBA team, and let's play this year's Jokic, Wembayana, SGA, Luka, and Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, Chet Holmgren, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray. I'm taking 90-91 first, second, and third team against this year's first, second, and third team.
This is not a diss on Chet Holmgren or even Victor.
Tyrese Maxey?
But if Patrick Ewing got them, or Hakeem in the low post,
David Robinson.
Yeah, it would be a bloodbath.
It would be a wrap down low. I think Jokic is big, and he's going to have to do a lot of work.
He would be dwarfed. He would be dwarfed next to David Robinson.
Team, that's going to be a lot of big guys going down low at you.
But that's what I mean. Like that.
But that's that change of the game, right? Because now those guys aren't going to line up outside the line. But
who's
I would expect
any
Victor.
of them?
I would expect Victor or Nikola Jokic to take a 3-pointer or something. You know, I would expect those guys to try to space out the court, and that's where I just say it gets a little bit different when it comes to the decade and spacing of offense and how they're played.
Wait, you said John Stockton was the third team?
John Stockton was the third team.
Can you imagine John Stockton just running point for all the big men?
It would be, yeah.
I'm telling you, the older generation big men would not be stopped in the paint. Agreed?
The closest thing we have today to an older generation big man, I want to say, is maybe Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. Right. Maybe.
And they're not getting stopped in the paint, and they're stopping everything in the paint. Right? So that we can agree on?
Yes.
Now you want to talk about the athleticism of the big men stepping out, who's defending the younger generation out. That's fair. That's fair. I think there's that's John Stockton's on the third team.
They're loaded.
That's 15 Hall of Famers. We were supposed to hear from Key Crawford. We're going to do that. Let's do this. Let's do a little summer of fun, Connor. Let's do a little summer of fun, Vinny. Can we get some summer of fun music or anything? Can we? Maybe Vinny can hum. Maybe we can get some summer of fun music because it's back, baby. We're going to listen to Key Crawford from his rookie minicamp. Coming up, we'll continue to get your thoughts up on the text line because there's a lot right now on a lot of different subjects. But we want to continue the summer of fun. Keep the mood light. Raider Nation Radio 920 and Terribles are bringing back the summer of fun as we celebrate America 250. You have a chance for a bit of an escape to some places and some great adventures like Hawaii, the Grand Canyon, Sedona, Yellowstone National Park, Southern California theme park trip, or maybe a Mississippi River Cruise staycation, or you can just take the cash. $3,000. It's your choice. Keep listening for the keyword of the day, which I'm about to give you. 702-365-9200. You text in that keyword of the day because summers are meant to be fun. The Summer of Fun brought to you by Terribles and Raider Nation Radio 920. This week's Summer of Fun giveaway is a Boston-Philadelphia kind of like bundle. Estimated total for two between $1,800 and $3,500. The breakdown is flights, open airfare, hotel, 5-night stay. All you got to do is text in the word of the day and you get a trip to Boston/Philly. The word of the day, Anthem. Anthem, A-N-T-H-E-M. Text in Anthem, 702-365-9200, and you could be the winner right here in the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920.
Vince, Vinny, and Clay want to hear from you. Call or text the show at 702-365-9200. Now, back to the Morning Tailgate.
Welcome back inside the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor. We're talking football and a whole lot of basketball on today's edition. But let's get back to the topic at hand for just a hot minute, and then we can get back to all the debates that exist. Keyron Crawford signed his rookie deal yesterday on Sunday. That brings the Raiders draft class to 8 out of 10 who have signed. Jermon McCoy, Fernando Mendoza still outstanding. No concerns, no worries, just business as it were. Keyron Crawford, we did get to hear from him shortly after rookie minicamp. And as we talk about on this particular program today, who's going to be that guy? Who has the ability to be that guy? Well, the Raiders seem to think 67th overall Keyron Crawford has the ability to get after the quarterback. Can he do it early? Can he do it consistently? Where will he be at as part of the rotation? These are all the questions that we're going to be asking into training camp, through training camp, and as the regular season kicks off in September. Until then, here's Keyron Crawford.
From the moment you were jumping in the pool a week ago to now, how has your world changed?
I've been ready to get to ball since that moment, so it's very exciting. It's a very pleasant moment just to actually be here and just learn from other guys and also be around the coaches to gain information from them.
Does it feel like real now, or is there a moment where it did go from draft process to wonder, I don't know yet, there's, it's kind of uncontrollable, to now you're actually here?
It was really like situational. So like in that very moment, once I was drafted, I was like, man, I'm ready to get the ball. Like I've been waiting on this for so long, just because like the process as far as like the Senior Bowl, Combine, and it's just like a waiting process. So just actually being able to be here is like a moment to like just actually come true.
Can you talk about like the Can you talk about the approach that Rob Leonard is taking to this defense, and is it beneficial for you to have a defensive coordinator who has that background in defensive line coaching?
Yeah, extremely. Just because like everything that I'm being taught is like everything that I did at Auburn, so it's really similar to exactly what I've done. So it's really an exciting position to be in.
Is there any like pillars or qualities that he's trying to instill in these defensive guys kind of early on?
Really just be the attacker. That's the main one. Be the attacker and always be forceful in what you do.
So far, what's been the main thing since you come to the NFL? I mean, I know it's rookie camp and it's been a short time, but what's been the biggest challenge for you in terms of learning how to go through this process and training as a rookie?
I would say it's mainly just getting a routine, figuring out what works best for me, what time I should wake up, what time I need to be in the building. Also, like just becoming disciplined with that is like the main point, and just like being able to be consistent with that is the main focus. So just being able to have my routine and be consistent with that and discipline, I feel like I'll be in the best shape as possible.
Can you talk about the jumping in the pool moment? Was that something that you decided you were going to do? Were you kind of peer pressure to make that happen there?
I was just like more so of like if I was to get picked today, I was like no matter what I got on, I'm jumping in this pool. So like that was just like I was like, you know what, it's gonna be a hell of a moment.
What do you envision your role being on this team?
Definitely a violent player, but also learning from the guys that's ahead of me. That's the main point. But also like taking notes and being able to be a part of like a great defensive line, but also being an attacker as well. So just being able to bring all those things in one and just being able to contribute on the field is like the best part.
Have you gotten to chat with a lot of those guys ahead of you yet? I know some rookies here now, but are you reached out?
Yeah, the main person was Maxx. I mean, I talked to Maxx probably like twice already. He called me draft night, and then I called him the next day just to get like a couple pointers. But just being able to soak in as much knowledge as I can. Once everybody gets in, it's going to be the best part.
Can you share what some of the pointers are that Maxx Crosby gave you?
Really just be respectful. You don't got to talk as much. Show in and show out when your time comes. Get ahead of the vets. Show them how it's done. If my name is called, just be ready. So like just being able to be myself and bring everything that I have to the table up front without a hesitation. Just don't be scared of nothing. That's the main one.
Obviously, you're a pass rusher by nature, but your role at Auburn was kind of a little bit more of that outside linebacker role, kind of stand straight up. What do you think is the biggest things, important emphasis for you as you kind of transition back into being more of a traditional defensive end?
It's really more so of just like being able to be consistent with my hands as well, just playing the run and being violent through the run. So it's just being able to correct those pointers, but also like understand the game 10 times more, because like everything is still new to me, but also understanding formations, understanding like what you can get in different formations, and like just like knowing what to come, just to be able to have a heads up over. It's really just like football intelligence. So like just being able to increase that, it allows me to play 10 times faster.
How would you describe the vibe with your draft class, the connection you guys have?
We got a great class right now. We're not in the locker room right now. They got us like in a section away, but it's more so like So it's a very camaraderie vibe, very spirit. Everybody happy to be here. The tryout guys happy to be here. So it's always fist bump, shaking the hand, and just being excited around the guys. It's the energy that matters just because everybody going to feel 10 times better going out on the field.
What was the kind of the reputation or the impression you had of Fernando before meeting him, and now what is it after meeting him?
Yeah, my agent called Fernando when I got drafted, so like he immediately called him. But it was exciting because I always watch his interviews just because I thought he was a funny person. Like he's just a high character, but also very like respectful and just. But being able to be alongside him, like I'm gonna definitely learn pointers just like from him because he's a very like outstanding guy. So like just being able to be around good people like that. But I feel like the entire building is like that. So like that was one of the best things when I realized like once my name was called, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be around like a lot of good people.
It's a bit of a weird question maybe, but you said Maxx called you and then you called him back the next day. Was there a moment where you're like, I'm really about to call Maxx Crosby, or is that just like, I belong, I'm just going to call him?
Yeah, I was like, I belong here. So it was more so like I was just calling to like actually like get pointers. Just like I asked him like, what is something that you actually messed up your rookie year that like I should like actually like take note of, and just like he gave me a great response. He was just like, bro, just be yourself, be respectful, and like you don't got to say much. All you got to do is work. That's all we care about, and you're gonna be able to fit in perfect.
That is Raiders rookie defensive end, outside linebacker, pass rush extraordinaire, soon to be Keyron Crawford. Just signed his rookie deal on Sunday, and again, I know we've played some of that here in the last few weeks, but feels like it hits a little different the day after he signs his rookie contract, right, Vinny? And when you sit there and hear him, how do you play? And he goes violent. You love hearing that. And again, the context and the caveat is we got to see it on the field, and it's got to translate on the field with NFL play and grown men week in and week out, snap in and snap out. But to your point of, if he's on the field for a quarter of the snaps, which is between, I think you said 20 and 25. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
That violence might play into that, especially early, because he's not required to be on the field for 60-plus snaps, right? Like he will be able to truly highlight what he does and what he says he's about, which is the violence, that quick nature, and he doesn't have to do it, 5 straight downs. And I think that might play into his early success if he's able to produce that.
Yeah, the good news for him is that he's coming into a situation where there is Maxx Crosby, there is Kwity Paye, and there is Malcolm Kuntz. So he's not going to have to get thrown into the fire. I mean, if he earns that, that's one thing, of course. But the more logical way to look at this is he's going to be, put into a role, put into a rotation, get those 20 to 25 snaps per game on the, as the starting baseline, and then be able to, like you said, go play violently, go play fast, go play with urgency in those snaps that you get, and try to maximize that as much as possible, and just try to get better, and then maybe by the end of the season even be pushing for more playing time. Hopefully that would be the case for him.
What's fascinating to me, and this is kind of more of a macro look at it, and I don't want to put a blanket statement on it, but the Raiders have done a really interesting job in terms of the roster building, right? Like there's a lot of new faces. They got 10 draft picks, but none of them are being looked at as you have to be the guy this year. However, there's an argument for a good majority of them, specifically those top 4, let's call them, of the rookie draft class, where they can go out and earn it. Fernando, Trayden Stukes, and we talk about a Key Crawford, Trey Zune. Like none of those guys have to be the starter, right? Would you agree with that?
Correct, yeah.
But all 4 of them very much so can go out and either become the starter, or in like a Key Crawford's case or Trayden Stukes' case, depending how many snaps they get on defense in terms of what they're able to produce. It's a really interesting dynamic that was created.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, Crawford's a 3rd-round pick. Malcolm Kuntz is a 3rd-round pick. We're saying 20 to 25 snaps. Let's just say 23 on average per game, right?
Sure.
That gets you to about 391 snaps for a season. To put that in perspective, Malcolm Kuntz in his first year played 48 snaps. In his second year as a third-round pick, played 68 total snaps. We're saying, so if you're looking at those 23 on average snaps per game for Crawford as light, well, just put it in perspective of a recent third-round pick at basically the same exact position, playing 48 his first year, 68 his second year. It wasn't until his third year Malcolm Kuntz jumped up to 500 snaps in his third season. I think, and I'm sure the Raiders would hope, obviously, that it happens quicker for Keyron Crawford than it did for Malcolm Kuntz, because remember, I remember going into Malcolm's third year, and to me he was on the bubble. There was a chance that he might not make the team. There was a couple of 50 3-man roster projections that I put out there where he didn't make the team. So he was able to hang on, get to that third year, and then play 500 snaps that third year, and then missed obviously 2024. And then guess what? Last year played 501 snaps. That's his career high by one over his 2023 season. So it sometimes takes a little while for Crawford to be penciled in for 391 400 snaps as a rookie. I think is would be a good thing for him and a positive for the Raiders, because he will have earned those snaps.
Yeah, and again, it's a really interesting, and obviously it's intentional. This is why the credit goes to Spytek and his staff for building it as such this time around, because those four guys that we just kind of listed off, as we said, none of them need to start. But if they can or work their way in, what a win that feels like for the organization. Right, for the projections of the organization, because if you even go back last year to the first two picks of the Raiders, Ashton Jeanty had to start. Right, he's the 6th overall pick. Like Raheem Mostert and Zamir White were the only two guys back there. Ashton Jeanty had to start. He also earned it with his play, but he was put in a position where it was almost, he better go earn it, because he has to be the guy. And think about where this team would have been if Ashton Jeanty didn't get the full workload. Jack Besh was kind of put in a position, I don't want to say that he had to start, but for a wide receiver room that didn't have a lot, they went out to try and go get Amari Cooper. That didn't last more than a week and a half. They went and got Tyler Lockett because he wasn't just quite ready. So they went it the inverse way. They put those guys hoping that they would take over. Darian Porter to an extent as well, right? Like they traded away Jacorian Bennett, opening the door for what would be him. It's Caillou Blue Kelly who takes over early on before Darian Porter works his way in. It feels like this time around, you're not sitting there saying these first couple draft picks, hey, we're really leaning on you guys for some meaningful snaps. They're not doing it this time around. But again, because the talent and what's there, feels like they're in a better spot to do so.
Well, and Fernando is a different thing.
Right.
It's going to be his team eventually, but you know what I'm saying with
but
quarterback.
Even bringing in Kirk Cousins,
I will say Tre'Davious Stukes is starting.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, he's going to be a guy to me that gets into that 700 to 900 snap count this year without question. He's going to be like he's going to be a starter. So which is why, and the reason I say that is because this is why to me Jack Besh's season last year was a little bit of a disappointment for a second-round pick. Because obviously, you just said that they signed Amari Cooper. They went and got the other veteran wide receiver, Tyler Lockett. To me, which was, and I remember talking to some people, throughout training camp last year, and quite honestly, they just weren't seeing enough from Jack Besh and from Thornton in terms of these are guys that we're going to be able to really rely on, and especially with Jack, and he was a second-round pick. Everyone wants to blame the coach. They want to blame this. They want to blame that. The fact of the matter is Jack Besh wasn't doing enough for any of us, quite honestly. I didn't see it in training camp. I didn't see what I needed to see from him, in training camp to say, that's a dude, that's a guy. I've seen that before. You've seen that before. Not speaking out of school to say I didn't see that from Jack Besh. last year. I still haven't seen it quite, honestly, in what we saw in OTAs and minicamp. So hopefully for him, whether it's the light, whether it's this, whatever it has to goes on this year in training camp, and he makes that presence felt more. Whereas to me, Traden Stukes, I already felt, just watching him during minicamp, I felt his presence in minicamp without question.
702-365-9200. Coming up next is the final sit down. But first, Raider Nation Radio 920 has tickets for the 7th annual Battle for Vegas. The VGK against your Raiders. Team Riley Smith versus Team Brock Bowers. This yearly charity softball game will take place at the Las Vegas Ballpark at downtown Summerlin, home of the Aviators. This Saturday, June 27th, there's going to be a home run derby, post-game fireworks, and 2 teams full of professional athletes, celebs competing for charities, with the proceeds benefiting local Southern Nevada charities. Stay locked in here on Raider Nation Radio 920 for your chance to win the tickets, or if you want to buy some tickets, guarantee you are in the building. Go to battleforvegas.com. General admission, VIP suites, premium packages still available. It is the 7th annual Battle for Vegas this Saturday, June 27th at the ballpark. Brought to you by Finley Mazda in the Valley Auto Mall and Raider Nation Radio 920.
We'll take your comments and questions on X. Follow us at RNR920AM. Let's dig in to the morning tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920. This is the morning tailgate.
Oh, Paisan. Oh! Back up. I'll talk to him about it. I've been telling you for months now this guy's no good. I want to sit down. All right. Answer the phone. I want to sit down.
Hey! On Raider Nation Radio 920.
It is the final sit down here on the morning tailgate, Raider Nation Radio on 920. Big thanks to all of our texters on today's program. Quick reminder, make sure you're following us across all social media, Raider Nation Radio 920. Make sure you subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel at Raider Nation Radio 920 AM for even more content. Make sure you turn on the notifications for YouTube so you are notified anytime we go live on Raider Nation Radio. Now, Vinny, Connor has just been so giving and so kind that after that Battle for Vegas read, he reached into his drawer and guess what he found? He found a pair of tickets for the Battle for Vegas. Team Riley Smith versus Team Brock Bowers for this Saturday. Connor, what lucky listener and lucky caller would you like to give away? Again, all you got to do is call in 702-365-9200. All you do is call in, be this caller number. Tickets are yours.
Well, we're doing Battle for Las Vegas, so let's do caller number 4.
Wow. Not only is he giving, he's witty. Battle for Vegas, be caller number 4. The lines are already ringing as the final sit down continues. Make sure you stay with the flagship for the silver and black all day. I will be filling in for JT the Brick from noon to 2 today, Vinny, so make sure you tune in from noon to 2.
Will do, absolutely.
And as the world gets set to watch Messi take the pitch once again here in just a few minutes, we're putting a bow on our conversation of getting after the quarterback and guys who need to be the guy. And we've asked the question, is that guy on the roster? Remains to be seen. Now, the offseason is obviously not complete. We're in these are our dog days of the offseason, are they not, Vinny?
Oh, yeah. Very much so. Yeah. I mean, we're in a break. We're in a break. I mean, really, The only real news coming now is Fernando signing. That's that they'll get all that sorted out. He and who's the other?
Jermon McCoy.
Yeah, and Jermon, and that's a little bit more of a complicated situation. With,
sure, there's going to be injury
talent.
Protection and
well, it's more so. I'm sure his agent is like, my player's on a 4th-round pick, by any stretch of the imagination. So let's figure something out with that. I don't know exactly.
Escalators. I'm sure there'd be escalators. You hit a certain number of
the number
snaps.
is the number.
No. Right, but I mean, in terms of the guaranteed, right? Because that's really what becomes the sticking point. The number is the number for those selections.
Yeah.
But the guarantees can kick in with a number of escalators, thresholds that you hit.
I'd have to look at that, but I don't know. I'd have to not in a rookie deal like the second contract. Yeah, but I think I don't know what the. I'll try to find out what the hang up is here. But usually that's your slot. That's what you get. This is your guarantee. This is how much. I mean, even in
I think that was
case,
I'm sorry. So I think that was the issue a year ago. Remember, Nick Caserio ruined not ruined, but I jokingly said he ruined it for everybody by he made the fully guaranteed contract for the second round. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm saying guarantees. I'm sure they're trying to get more guarantees than any 4th-round pick has ever gotten because
4th-round pick.
Bingo.
Yeah,
that's what I would imagine.
Whereas with Fernando, it's right on down to the penny exactly how much he's going to get. I think in his case, it's just I want it now. I want my signing bonus all right now rather than paid over the course of time like the Raiders normally do and some teams normally do.
And that's that in Jermon McCoy's case. His agent's saying he's a first-round talent, that he shouldn't be in the 4th round. The number stays what the number is, but he could be saying exactly what you're saying is, give me it all or give me 90% of it in that signing bonus. So that's especially what he's probably asking for now, considering the injury and considering the question marks that exist. Could be the hang-up. That's just my pure speculation. But based on what we saw with the Houston Texans, that's the reason why there were so many second-round picks unsigned, up against training camps, is because Nick Caserio, was it the wide receiver, Jalen? Noel. He made it fully guaranteed. And so that made every other second-round pick be like, well, that guy just...
Right.
Why am I not? So that's why Jack Besh was one of the last guys signed of the Raiders rookie class.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So Jermon McCoy is in a unique position. I'm curious, what Fernando's...
How that all plays out.
Yeah. Because, again, it is fascinating. The number is the number at your slotted position. Mm-hmm. But as I was saying... Putting the bow on it, Keyron Crawford, he signs his contract, and we heard from him again in this hour how excited he is just to get going.
Right.
And for a lot of these guys are so excited to get going, but we've seen the approach that some of these new staffs take, especially with young guys. I'm curious what Kubiak and his staff are going to take with the entire collection of young guys. Everybody's running their own race, depending on their position and where they're at. I think we all understand that, but how they integrate them, especially those first 4 guys, I'm really curious to see how they do it. Fernando's going to be kind of, again, his own race, but Trayden Stukes, you said it, he's a starter. I completely agree with you. But how much do they throw at him early in training camp to the sink or swim method? Same with Keyron Crawford for all the reasons we talked about, getting in that rotation and somebody else being the guy opposite Maxx.
Yeah, and I think in Trayden Stukes' case, I think there's a clearer path right now to, and maybe a bigger need for him to get on the field and be an impact player day one with a whole bunch of volume work at safety and slot wherever he signs up lines up, as opposed to there isn't such an immediate need at edge rusher. However, if he can show that he's better than some other guys that are ahead of him right now on the pecking order, they're not going to hesitate to get him on the field even more. So,
hey, you need to check out Connor. Was it the 07-08 NBA All-Star team?
Yeah,
all NBA team.
Yeah, we're looking at 08 and 09. I think that one was going to give a good run for the money.
Vinny, that might be. We might have to keep that convo going because he was just listing off the names.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ewing. You're not getting any minutes with that roster. Yao Ming's got something to say.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
For Vinny Bonsignor, I'm Vince Sapienza. Connor crushing it on the ones and twos. Make sure you stay with me. I'm back filling in for JT from 12 to 2, and then we are back here on the Morning Tailgate on a Tuesday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.